And welcome back. This, of course, is time for Up Close and Personal. And the guest we have who's just absolutely kicking off the week. When you talk about Motivational Mondays, this is exactly what we're talking about. She's a TV personality. She's a lifestyle coach as well. CEO of Resolute Rosie. I'm talking about Rosie Njoroge. But her story is one for the books. When it comes to, just overcoming barriers and challenges every single time, it's one thing to go and coach people how to do it. It's a totally different thing to live it, and that's why she's here to tell us all about it. Rose, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
The last time we were here, we weren't talking about you, but I got to learn about your story, and I was like, wait, hold up. Are we talking about the same Rose who was here a couple of months? No, it can't be. Because there's so many things you've been through. We're talking about, health issues. At one point, very many people think even the fact of, just when you get a bundle of joy, you get a baby, that's a positive. Everybody wants that to come through their life, but also that coming with so many complications. You know what? Let's take it back to the beginning. You're a young lady. The world is your oyster. Everything is looking up. You suffer a stroke when you're so young. How did you deal with that? What went through your mind at that particular point?
At that particular point, when I received the diagnosis of why I was in the hospital, I couldn't believe it. Being a medic, you totally understand the repercussions of suffering a stroke, and especially at such a young age. And it was a complete shock for me. I couldn't believe it. It is what it is. Those are the facts. Right. But my mind could just not wrap around the fact that I had just suffered a stroke. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because I always say it's always a mental game, what are you telling yourself at the time? The doctor breaks down the news for you. You know what it means. Mm-hmm. But you start questioning yourself. What did you do? Is it a lifestyle that you led? What was going through your mind at that time?
Obviously, I wanted to find out, the reason. Why did I, suffer this stroke? Let's do tests. Let's find out exactly, what happened. And it was quite a process. And sometimes when things happen in your life, they've already happened. You can't start dwelling on the why. You need to start dwelling on how do I move forward at this particular point in life that I'm in, and with these things that I've been dealt, how do I move forward? Because you can actually get stuck in that position of why me? And pity on me. Mm-hmm. And that's just not my personality.
Right. And it's one thing to talk about one isolated incident. Okay, like, yes, she suffered one stroke. She decided just to forge on and deal with life with a positive attitude, and just to know that she needs to deal with that. But that's not the only thing you had to overcome throughout the years. We're talking about the fact that as every married couple, when they do get the news that you're expecting a baby, it's great news.
Yes, of course.
But for you, there's a lot of complications that came around that. Let's talk about that particular period.
Sure. So my husband and I had been trying to conceive for quite some time, about 7 years. We had gone through fertility clinics. I mean, we had tried everything under the sun, and it just wasn't working. And of course, my biological clock is ticking, and I really wanted to have a baby. We wanted to, start a family. And so we talked about it, we prayed about it, and we decided to go ahead and go through the adoption process. So we were living in the US then. We went through the entire adoption process, which is something else. It's like, doing a thesis, a dissertation. And we got approved. And so we were in line to have a baby placed with us any day now. And so I wasn't feeling well and decided, let's go to the clinic, let's see what's going on. And just to find out that I was indeed expecting. And it was the most joyous moment. I mean, you can imagine.
7 years.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, wow. I was high-fiving people in the doctor's office, and they're wondering what's going on here. But I was so excited, and so the pregnancy progressed. And at about 6 months pregnant, I just started suffering a lot of complications. Started having heart problems. My pelvis separated to the point where the baby was almost dropping out. So I had to be on complete bed rest. I had sciatic nerve pain. I couldn't walk. I mean, it was just a mess. To the point where I couldn't even shower by myself or, use the ladies' room by myself. I had to be assisted by my sweet husband, my best friend. I had nurses, helping me, and it was it was misery from 6 months on. I was short of breath. I couldn't have a conversation like I'm having with you. I'd say, 2, 3, 4 words, and I'm panting like I've been, running a race. And it was a very, very dark and difficult time because I thought, being pregnant, this is just going to be me rubbing my belly and enjoying the whole process. But every time I saw my physician, I would just beg him, take this baby out of my body each and every time. And then I gained a lot of weight, and it was just a lot of fluid. My legs were just completely swollen. My whole entire body was completely swollen, and it was a sight to behold. And yeah, so it was a very difficult time for me to go through that pregnancy. And as happy as I was that I was going to have my own baby, it was hard. It was very, very difficult.
And at this particular point, we are thankful that everything went okay.
Yes.
Boy is big, like you said, just, growing and running around and just causing a ruckus like they should. But at that particular time, was there any doubt that, after 7 years and then this, babe, I'm not sure if we'll pull through. Let's not, keep our hopes too high.
Yes.
How do you reconcile with all that's going on?
Well, because I was a high-risk pregnancy, I had to have a C-section, and that in itself is a story for another day. It was just difficult. And after my son was born, you kind of have temporary amnesia. You forget all the pain and the suffering, and you hold this baby in your arms, and it's the most beautiful miracle that you've ever seen. And I thought to myself, I can't go through this again. It's madness. Who would want to put themselves through this? But when he was 6 months old, I started thinking, I think I can do this again. And my husband thought I was literally crazy. I had completely lost my mind because he went through this with me. And he thought, okay, we've gone through this. We're on the other end. Thank God it's over. And then here I am talking crazy. How about we have another baby? We can't just have one baby. He needs a playmate, He's going to be an only child. Let's think about it. And he was just, let's take it slow. But I thought, if I'm going to do this again, I need to do it now while the pain is still fresh. Because if I wait for him to be 5 years old or 10 years old and you tell me to go through that again, no. So we talked to my doctor, and he said, you could, but I'd suggest that maybe you wait. And I said, no, you said I could, right? That's all I heard. And sure enough, baby number two, same exact process. The pain, the suffering, being in a wheelchair, using a walking frame, it was just a nightmare. And 2 is enough. 2 is enough. I love them.
For 3.
No, I love them dearly, but yes, I'm not that crazy. 2 is enough.
And,
2 is enough.
At baby number 2, because you knew how you experienced, what had gone through your body the first time all this was happening. What was going through your mind this time round? Because you knew the pain, you knew what you're going to expect, you knew the swelling would come. You wouldn't be able to go to use the washroom by yourself. Were you prepared for that mentally? Or are you dreading it? What was your state?
I was prepared for it. At least I was prepared for it, but it still hits you afresh. It really does. And this time around, it was actually a little bit worse because, remember, I had just had a baby. And then I'm pregnant again, going through the same exact motions. So your body physically is going just through a double whammy. It was very, very difficult the second time around. The first time it was difficult mentally, emotionally, trying to process everything that's going on with you. The second time it was just a physical ouch, just one big 9 months of ouch.
And of course, we can even see some of the images of you in hospital as you're trying to recuperate. Right there, was that baby number 1 or baby number 2?
Number 2. I had breathing problems, shortness of breath, just, you can look at my eyes and you can see I'm not there. I'm just not there.
And I'm just thinking about it, you must really have a very supportive husband. Because at baby number 2, he's like, babe, we had the first baby, we were good, we were out of this. We're back at this for another year.
My husband he's an angel. The only things he's lacking are the wings. He is truly an angel. He has been there, supportive of me throughout our entire life together, it has not been easy on him or for him to have somebody who's gone through so much, and he has never, ever wavered. And to me, he's like the North Star.
Right.
You know, you look up and you just follow him. He is truly an angel, and I am blessed to have him in my life.
Right. And let's continue talking about that. Two very complicated pregnancies, high-risk pregnancies, a stroke, and most people, that's more than they handle in their lifetime. You know, those are, in terms of health, pretty serious and grave issues to deal with health. But for you, that's not all.
No.
The plot unravels, you know, and what happens next?
So I had a stroke. My husband and I, after the recovery process, moved back to Kenya. We decided, let's just move back to Kenya. We spoke with my parents, and they said, you know, come on down. And so at least we had the support. You know, you can leave your baby with mom or your sister, and there's support. And so we moved back to Kenya, and exactly a year after having the first stroke, I suffered my second stroke. And that to me was totally unexpected, and it was like, wow, okay, this is not good, because, you know, you suffer 2 strokes, the third one is usually a big one. And so I ended up leaving my kids here with my parents and went back to the States just so that I could have some treatment. And while I was there, they discovered that I have a brain aneurysm. And so, you know, when you have a brain aneurysm, you don't want to have any more pressure, you know, in your brain, in your head, because it could pop at any time. So, you know, they tell you things like, you know, make sure you don't cough, you know, too hard, don't sneeze too hard, you know, don't lift your kids if they're heavy. You know, just, so I'm thinking, so you want me to just sit there like a lump on a log and do nothing? I said, get out of here, come on now. I have to live, this is life, it's called living. That is not living. So I choose to live my life and let the chips fall, you know, where they may. Of course, I'm not gonna go do bodybuilding and be irresponsible, but I am gonna hug my kids. If my daughter is crying, I am gonna lift her up. It is scary, especially when you have intense headaches, because that's a sign that you could, you know, it could be rupturing. But you take it a day at a time. You take it a day at a time. You're responsible, you get your MRI checks, make sure it's not, you know, getting bigger. If it gets to a certain size, then hop on a plane, go get brain surgery, have a stent put in, and life goes on. You have to be positive, because what's the alternative? Right. What's the alternative? Right. I don't see that part of it.
And because with a mental game, it's really about focusing on what, like you said, is important. But with this in the back of your mind, and that, you know, with the state of the aneurysm, it ruptured because of coughing or, you know, lifting something heavy, how do you push that particular state of affairs to, you know, like the back of your mind, don't think about that, and focus on other things? How do you do that?
It's really easy for me because I have 2 kids. That's the focus. My focus is, are my kids happy? Are they healthy? Are they going to school? Who hasn't done their homework? My life is already full as it is. The only time I'll think about certain issues is if I'm, you know, having a symptom at that particular time. Then my mind will go to that. But you have to focus on other things that will keep you busy, things that are, you know, good for you. My children, my husband, my work. And that's what I choose to focus on.
Also, when it comes to the kids, because, you know, with every parent, there's always that, you know, idea of you want to be there when they're older. You want, if it's a boy, you want to see the girlfriend they'll bring, be there for the marriage. When you look at that, because this is life, and you know, do you at times ask yourself how it's going to play out? Will you be there? Will you see this young man turn into a full-grown adult? Because these are questions that every human asks.
Yes,
you know.
I do.
And what goes on when you look at that boy at that particular time?
I look at it, I mean, I want to see my daughter walking down the aisle. I want to see, you know, who my son is going to date, whether I'll approve or not approve. I think in terms of just what any other normal mother would think in terms of, because, you know, yes, I have a lot of, you know, medical issues going on, and what hope do I have if I dwell on I could die tomorrow? What hope am I giving my children? So when we sit down and we talk about the future with my children, we talk about the future like I'm going to be here, because in my mind, I am going to, you know, I might outlive all of you.
True
You
that.
never know.
Very true. And because I'm sure you haven't had like the big chat with the kids about, you know, probably mom goes through this. Is there an age like you and the husband have decided, you know, when they're this age, we'll tell them about what's going on, and then they'll know what mom has to deal with?
I think I take it a day at a time. I mean, right now my kids are really young. I have a 5-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. They would not comprehend anything. So maybe when they're teenagers, I still have maybe 10 more years. So maybe we can revisit the you know, talking to them about the things that I'm going through at that time when they can actually comprehend. But in the meantime, I have a responsibility to them to stay as healthy as I can, make sure I'm taking my medicine, make sure I'm, you know, visiting the doctor when I need to, having my tests done, and just be that responsible mother.
And for most people, they'd wonder, okay, wait, with such a condition, like if you suffered a stroke or something like that, why would you leave the States where you have all these high-level doctors? When it comes to healthcare, of course, they're worlds apart, and you compare what's in the States and what's in Kenya, and then move your family to Kenya, where, I mean, just getting basic checkups and all of this, getting the specialists that you need, would prove more tasking than if you were in the United States.
I'll say, the way I'll answer that is yes and no. Yes, in the States, the medical facilities are more advanced. You get, you know, I don't want to say better, you know, healthcare, but it is what it is. However, when you're living in the States, you're really just an individual family. Your husband is your total help, but he has to go to work as well. Your best friend may come and help you for a day or two. Another cousin may come and help you, but they also have homes, jobs, responsibilities. In Kenya, you have that support system. Your aunties are there for you, your cousins are there, your mother is always there for you. So at least you know, I can leave my kids with so-and-so and dash to the hospital to get this and that done. Or even if you're admitted in a hospital in Kenya, you're not worrying about who's taking care of your kids. Is your husband going to lose his job because now he has to stay home with the kids? It's a whole totally different world out there. So the support system is what my husband and I were looking for, and that's what made us make the decision to move back to Kenya.
And after leaving for, you know, 20 plus years, you know, abroad, coming back home, what is the reintegration like into the system here, you know?
The first year was very difficult for all of us, because I guess when you haven't lived in the country for so long, it was just like when we went to the States, we got sick, we ate cheese, and our stomachs would just not agree. And, you know, so you come back home, and so your body's getting used to, you know, the bacteria in Kenya, the viruses, so you catch each and everything. So we were in and out of hospitals, all of us, for the first year. It was a complete blur. But after that, you know, you take probiotics, and you're taking your yogurt and your vitamins, and you get used to the environment. So now we're good. We're healthy, we're thriving, and we're happy. Yes.
And what about the family setup? Like, because, you know, you come back home, and of course, there are all these people who heard that Rosie is coming back, and she's not feeling well. How was their reception towards you coming back home?
It was pretty good. I mean, family is always family. They welcome you with open arms. My aunties, my cousins, you know, God bless them, they're the best. And so for me, the transition was not difficult, because we have a close-knit family that's really supportive. So that for me was not an issue, and I'm glad for that, because some people don't have that.
True.
So I'm grateful for that.
Very true. In fact, what we'll do, we'll take a short break right here. We'll be back with more with you, so don't go anywhere. You're not going anywhere. But right now, we need to make sure that if you're leaving the house at this particular point in time, well, we told you the best time to have left is earlier in the morning. But right now, we'll still try and make sure we give you alternative routes for you to ply as you get to town or wherever you're going. So Shiro is standing by for that. How's it looking on the roads at this hour?
Not good, Jeff, not good at all. You know that it's almost 8 o'clock, so that means we are smack in the middle of rush hour. Let's start off with Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road is very busy, heading past the City Cabanas area and past the Ole Sereni area. All the way up to the Nyayo Stadium roundabout, Mombasa Road is a complete and utter disaster. In some spots, it's at a near standstill. Now, if your plan is to just say, listen, I can't do Mombasa Road today, let me go through South Sea. Maybe don't do that because South Sea is a complete mess as well. Muhoho Avenue is very crazy as well as Mai Mahiu Road heading all the way into the T-Mall roundabout there. Now, let's see. Langata Road, let's see how far back it goes. Again, traffic stretching all the way almost at Bomas of Kenya and up until the T-Mall roundabout, and past that into the Madaraka roundabout and along Aerodrome Road towards the Makaburini roundabout there. Mbagathi Way, completely and utterly messy. Standstill all the way from the T-Mall roundabout up until the city mortuary. Yo, today traffic, I don't know what is happening. Think you're well rested. You all decided to come out with a vengeance onto the roads because things are not looking good at all. Thika Road, the same story. Very, very busy. Traffic stretching past Garden City and all the way down into the Pangani area. Kiambu Road, very busy. Traffic stretching back from Nakumatt Ridgeways up until the Muthaiga roundabout. And Limuru Road, the same story. Traffic stretches all the way up until the Village Market and down past Parklands into the Museum Hill area. All right, let's take some of your tweets really quickly, see what the situation looks like. University Way, as you can see there, the situation is not looking good. Quite busy there as well. This was at 7:47, about 10 minutes ago. Then Vostim Wanzia says, Thika Road kuna traffic ingine haieleweki. Wow, I don't know what's happening today, guys. I am so sorry if you're stuck in that. Thika Road, as you can see right there, there's actual visual evidence of how bad things have gotten there. And then, of course, between Kinungi and Limuru along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway, there's very, very heavy fog, so very poor visibility. So yeah, you have to be on the lookout for that, drive carefully. And then just look at Mombasa Road. The traffic on Mombasa Road is horrendous. All right, if you're trying to figure out, okay, I'm about to leave the house, how do I get up to date with the traffic updates on K24 Al Fitri? All you have to do is head on over to our YouTube channel. We are live there, and as well as on our website, that is www.mediamax.co.ke. We'll be right back.